Welcome back, everyone. I am Lisa Gonzalez with Meditation for Leadership, and we are a non-profit organization on a mission to bring you all the benefits of meditation. We're continuing with our weekly wellness and wisdom series, and so far we've been focusing on leadership traits that fall under the pillar of awareness. All of these so essential in how we move through our lives. So self-awareness we've talked about. Focus, having the ability to stay focused on a task or a event, and then creativity, allowing that self-awareness and that focus to give us the space to think outside the box. All of these things, though, do stay with the work that we're doing within. So today, we're going to shift into the next pillar of impact, which is connection. And we are going to focus today on communication. How meditation can help you become a better communicator, and how communicating helps you connect with the people in your life. So we wouldn't really be able to talk about communication without referencing the one of the leading books, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this book was written in 1936 by Dale Carnegie. And many of the principles for communication that he laid out in the book still hold true today. Right? Beginning with praise and honest appreciation, giving people a good reputation to live up to, not criticizing, but looking for ways to improve, and to also admit to your own mistakes before criticizing other people, and making the mistakes easy to fix, right? That it's not a big deal. So there's so many different principles in this book. I think something to note is that all of the principles have some common things. First, that they're all done with this goal of an opportunity of improving, not necessarily criticizing. Another thing is that the speaker is always thinking about the emotional reaction of the receiver. So that emotional reaction plays a big part. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. And also that this overall positive tone is more likely going to get you where you want to go by keeping it in a positive light. So with that being said, it's important to know that not all communication is done through words. In fact, there's been many studies that show communication more is communicated through tone of voice and body language. So that's important. That's an important factor to think about when you're having conversations. What is your tone of voice? How is your body language? Are you closed off or open? And that is going to impact how you communicate with other people. Another thing to think about is that what we are bringing to each communication that we have, each interaction that we have. Many of us have a clouded lens, something that we refer to in the book, of things that have happened to us, maybe in a previous relationship, a previous career, or even a previous, in our childhood, that influences us or creates a little film through, imagine a pair of glasses that are a bit cloudy. It doesn't give us a clear vision. And often that clouded lens creates a barrier for communication. And meditating allows us to slow down and almost step back and be the witness to see what is that clouded lens that I'm coming to this interaction with, because that's going to halt any type of connection or communication right away. One of the meditations that we do in the book is called shedding of the skin. It's based off this concept of a snake and how a snake often sheds its old skin. So we ask ourselves, what is that I'm bringing to my interactions that's clouding my lens, and can I let it go? Can I release it? So let's go through that process real quick. We'll do a shortened version of that meditation. So come to a comfortable seat, somewhere where you can sit up nice and tall, keep a straight spine. It could be right at your desk, or you can come sit down onto the floor. Close your eyes or lower your gaze and take a few breaths just to come into your body. Maybe the first few are deeper. Eventually you find a steady, softer pattern of natural breath. And without any judgment, ask yourself what barriers you could possibly shed. What is clouding that lens for you? Oftentimes it has really nothing to do with the person you're interacting with. So what are those barriers that you can shed? And without judging, just notice what comes up. Stay with your breath. Ask yourself the next question, what stops you from shedding those barriers? What stops you from letting it go? Noticing what feelings arise. And the last question is, when you can release or shed those barriers to connection, can you see the true reflection of yourself? Take a few final breaths. Good. Good. You can open your eyes or lift your gaze back up. I think this is more of a reflective meditation than anything, but it does give us the opportunity to see what is halting that connection or communication before even interactions begin. It's funny, what they say about snakes is that you often won't see a snake that looks old because it's constantly shedding the skin that it no longer needs. So it's always vibrant and looking young because it's able to release. And that is a process that in our mind we have to keep coming back to. Like, what is holding me back? What is keeping this lens clouded, and getting in the way of me seeing clearly? So that's one thing to always think about in your interactions and your connections, especially when you have connections with people that might be somewhat emotional or you easily react to. Like, can you take an honest look at what you're coming to the table, what you're bringing to the table, if you're already coming with some negative emotion there? Another thing that we talk about in this idea of communication is something that I was taught in my teacher training, which is really listening to people and how to listen. We've never really been taught how to listen. And I was taught about these 5 levels of listening, starting at completely ignoring, and then slightly better than ignoring. And we all have been ignored before. We've all know what that feels like. Slightly better than ignoring, but not really still great, is pretending to listen. And then it moves up, selective listening. We've all done that, where we're listening for certain things. Attentive listening, where you really are paying attention, but more to the words than anything. And the highest level of listening is empathic listening. And that is in listening with your whole self, listening not only to the words that are being said, but also to the emotion behind them. And, many times we might listen to respond, or we might listen to advise or evaluate, or listening to probe and ask questions. But are we really listening just to allow the person who's sharing to be heard? And when you think about it, after all of our physical needs are met, or food, water, shelter, we really just want to be heard. We want to be heard, we want to be validated, and we want to be understood. So I think that the more that you can really listen, and listening is much more about, hearing and watching and feeling than it is saying anything. Silence that's why silence is so important. Can you really hear what people are saying? And when you can hear what they're saying, even if you disagree, it doesn't matter if you disagree. When somebody is heard, there's going to be more space to connect and communicate rather than when somebody doesn't feel heard at all. So to wrap up, although we talk often about how meditation can help you become a more effective leader, it's important to understand that all of these skills, the connection, the communication, it's going to interweave itself in all of the relationships of your life. We do believe incorporating a regular meditation practice, though, will help you in your personal life and in your organizational practices. So we would love for you to reach out with feedback. Feel free to write some comments, to share this video with anyone who you feel like it would be helpful. Check us out at Meditation for Leadership, the number 4 leadership.org. We have lots of innovative programming. We do a 5-part series. We have one-on-one coaching. And to get more information, you can also email us at info@meditationforleadership.org. Look forward to seeing you next time.